In Bayron City, a girl named Kisara reaches the apartment of Shu, a broke loner, and uses her power to trespass into his apartment. She tries to cook for him, but the apartment has no power. Meanwhile, Shu is with his ex-girlfriend Ayano, who is feeding him because he hasn't eaten in several days. Shu is unemployed and struggling to afford food while living on his own. Ayano tells him to be realistic, but Shu tells her he wants to live life the way he wants. He doesn't regret quitting her company and dying of starvation, but apologizes when she is paying the bill for him. Shu goes back to his apartment and is shocked to see Kisara waiting in the dark for him with uncooked vegetables for dinner. He tries to tell her he already ate, but she guilt trips him into eating her food. Kisara smells that he has seen another woman, and he makes up an excuse that he was just visiting the city. Kisara offers to pay for his electricity, and when he initially refuses, she tells him that she has no use for money anyway. But when she finds out that he has spent all his monthly funds already, she tells him that they should just take medicine and go to heaven together, posting her intentions on social media. Shu goes online to bid for demon extermination work, joining other companies representing his own private military company INS. Today's job is a B-rank demon disaster that has appeared in the Bayron hotel, and the contractors who take the job must be careful to limit destruction to the city. Shu wins the bid to destroy the D-hazard by offering a very low offer for the job, and the other security companies scold him for bringing the price down too much. Before Shu goes on the job, he calls his former company run by Ayano's mother, and Ayano is assigned to help for a part of the cut. Shu and Ayano meet at the hotel with their security forces, where they confront the D-hazard in the ballroom with its many minions. While Ayano distracts Hazard's forces, Shu sneaks up from behind but is almost killed until Kisara arrives to save him. Ayano's forces report the demon's regenerative powers may be too overwhelming, and Shu sends Kisara to fight the D-hazard in combat, but she is overwhelmed. Kisara tells him that she is low on power because they haven't enacted their ritual in a while, and Shu reluctantly kisses her. The strengthened Kisara easily begins to eradicate the demon forces, but Ayano and Kisara get into an argument, and the two begin to fight while simultaneously fighting the demons. Shu tries to stop them, but Kisara angrily attacks him and demands he provide proof of their contract by providing her with a spare key so that she can visit him wherever she wants. Shu gives her a key to his apartment, and the two work together and destroy the D-hazard. But unfortunately, they destroy part of the hotel in the process. Kisara wakes up to see Shu sleeping peacefully, so she takes pictures of them while he is asleep and posts them to social media. Shu and Kisara see that the government has covered up the events of the hotel, and Kisara does research on the demon to see how the possession occurred. Kisara also states that she'll be living in the apartment with him from now on to take care of Shu since he gave her a spare key. Kisara leaves to go to school, and she plans to find a part-time job to help support Shu, but when she runs into her friends, they are suspicious of her relationship and tell her to find a better boyfriend. Kisara defends Shu, but they call him hopeless. Meanwhile, the student council president Mikhail arrives to try to charm Kisara. Mikhail is the son of Bayron City's mayor, and he invites her to join him at a party that night, but Kisara leaves with his friends. Meanwhile, Shu and Ayano are at the gym, where Shu tries to persuade Ayano to hire him as a subcontractor for his mother's company, which will help him be able to pay for his apartment. Ayano is disappointed in his attitude and that he continues to work with Kisara, but she reluctantly agrees to call her mother Akino. But Ayano quickly changes her mind when she sees Kisara's social media posts. In the city, Deputy Mayors Linfa and Shenfa are told that a student from the university is planning an assassination at the mayor's party that night, and that the government has marked him as potentially demon-possessed. The Anti-Demon Bureau asks that the mayor cancel the party, but the mayor's office refuses, but agree to allow military companies to be hired as security for the event. Since a D-hazard hasn't appeared yet, the bureau hires Akino and her company to deal with any problems. Shu, Ayano, and Kisara all are hired to provide security for the event, and Mikhail is happy to see Kisara at the party. Akino watches the party from the security cameras while the rest of security look out for the suspected assassin. Shu is told by Miles, another contractor, that the company hopes to stop the student before a full demonic possession has occurred, which would result in a D-hazard event. Miles acts friendly with Shu, but Shu doesn't remember Miles or his family very much. The mayor begins a big speech to announce the start of the event, and though the speech is hopeful, Ayano and Kisara remark that Bayron City has a huge gap between the rich and poor. This is the motivation for the student assassin, who is also angry that the mayor has been keeping the threat of demonic possession a secret from those living in the city. The assassin attacks, but is stopped by Kisara, who phases through the walls. Ayano and the security forces chase down and corner the assassin, who is attempting to flee the building. But at the last minute, Ayano spares the assassin. Shu arrives through the window, and with Kisara they capture the assassin. They are notified to keep the assassin alive for questioning, and while the assassin tries to turn them to his side, they ignore him to do some online shopping. The assassin retreats, but after Shu finishes his online shopping, he quickly recaptures the demon. Kisara later asks Shu if he really is okay with the unfairness of the city and how badly it treated his family, but he states he can't do anything since he works for the government. Shu has a dream about his sister Kana, lost without his parents in a dark place before she is killed. He wakes up alone and sees that his family photo has been desecrated by Kisara. Elsewhere in the city, a man runs away from security forces with valuable cargo, and when he cornered, a mysterious voice on his phone offers him demonic possession to help him escape. At Shu's apartment, since he and Kisara are desperately poor, they live off of bean sprouts. They wonder what to do until a letter arrives with another job for Shu. At the mayor's office, the government discusses foreign spies in their city who have come to discover the secrets of organium, a powerful substance mined and researched in Bayron city. One of the foreign spies recently was caught by security forces, but then underwent demon possession. A worried mayor wonders what to do, but the deputy mayors tell him they will handle everything. In the city, Shu and Ayano meet at a park to discuss work, and Shu compliments Ayano's outfit. Shu provides photos of various D-hazards that are linked together as part of his research on the underlying causes for demonic possession. Ayano admits that even though Shu has his own tiny company, he is an excellent investigator when it comes to demons. But she also scolds him for being a terrible boyfriend while they were dating, and they don't notice that Kisara was spying from the fountain nearby. The online auction for demon extermination jobs in the city is abruptly stopped when the government sends out an emergency notice of a D-hazard that has been feeding on the city's power for a week. But since the demon has a core of organium that must be recovered, Shu's bid is rejected by the government because his company does not have the capability to capture the demon alive. As the security forces descend on the demon caterpillar, the demon exterminators admit that Shu still remains the strongest among them, because he is the only one who has a contract with a powerful demon he can use in the city, which is Kisara's demonic form. The caterpillar brushes off the government's attacks and becomes a butterfly, quickly destroying the military forces in the area. Ayano calls her mother to notify the government they need reinforcements, but Shu refuses to join the fight. Kisara arrives and asks what Shu is willing to give up for her help, and for their contract Shu allows her to take a month of his memories. Shu will do anything he can to find his family again, and per his contract with Kisara he has been allowing her to slowly take his memories for his help. Ayano's forces are losing ground against the demon until Kisara steps in to help them, and working together with Kisara, Shu snipes the demon from a distance and they destroy the demon. Later, Ayano and her squad face and exterminate a D-class demon hazard in the shipyard, and Ayano notices that increasingly civilians are getting caught in the fighting. Ayano then goes to a fancy restaurant with Deputy Mayor Linfa, where she asks the deputy if she can have a favor from the mayor's office. Before Linfa leaves, she teases Ayano about her past relationship with Shu. Shu and Kisara are looking forward to celebrating their payout by having beef bowls for lunch, but they run into Mikao, who calls Shu an abusive boyfriend. Meanwhile, Kisara notices Ayano meeting with the government in a nearby park, so she follows Ayano and takes a picture of her discussion. Mikao tries to threaten Shu into leaving the city, but Shu ignores him and leaves without Mikao knowing. Shu meets Kisara at the park, who has alerted Ayano to her presence, and they are introduced to Mikami of the Anti-Demon Bureau. Mikami reveals he has been following Italian mafia member Tony, who was recently arrested in the shipyard event, and that the underworld of Bayron seems to be embroiled in gang war between different crime syndicates. Mikami believes by investigating the gang world, they can find the person who is causing the demonic possession across the city. Though Mikami discovers at the hospital that another crime syndicate seems to have assassinated Tony before he could be interrogated by the government. Shu later meets Ayano, informing her that the assassin from the mayor's event was a college student named Yoshida, who he remembered seeing at a cafe nearby, and that he might have lived close by. Shu asks Ayano for her help investigating, but she refuses because she feels that he never has fully trusted her with his secrets. Ayano runs away but later is met by Kisara, who reveals to Ayano that Shu has lost many of his memories to Kisara, and that's why Shu can no longer understand Ayano. Kisara tells Ayano that Shu will do anything to solve the mystery of his family's murder, and that means giving up all his memories. Ayano isn't happy that Shu is giving himself up for revenge, and Kisara argues that if she truly cared for Shu, Ayano would support him completely. At the mayor's office, the security bureau notifies the mayor that the conflict between the gangs has increased with more instances of demonic possession. The police hold back because they can't deal with potential demons, but as they surround the gang hideout, Shu runs in to confront the D-hazard. Shu chases the demonic possessed away, allowing Mikami to interrogate the survivors at the hideout, and they determine that the D-hazard is actually Maria, the lover of the mafia member Tony, who is hunting down everyone involved in the gang war. Maria ambushes Ayano for her role in capturing Tony, but before she is killed, Kisara steps in to save her. Shu contacts them over the phone and tells them that the demon travels through mirrors, which allows her to get away from Kisara. And for Ayano's protection, The government provides a safe house to keep her safe from Maria. The kami questions Shu on how he responded to the demonic possession so fast, but Shu refuses to give up his sources to the authorities. The kami reveals to Shu that since the city had been founded, the orgonium mine underneath the city was suspected to be the source of the rise in superhumans, or D-hazards in the city. Shu's father, Isamu, was hired as a consultant to find solutions in the mine, but his family except for Shu all died in an accident in the mine. Shu was the only survivor, and the government used his family as a scapegoat to blame them for the many lives lost in the mine. Since that day, Shu has been trying to uncover the mystery of the accident and clear his family's name. The kami admits the government has not been fair to Shu in these last 12 years, but promises that if Shu works closely with him they will find the answer together. Shu gives up some of his information, so Mikami and Miles go investigate Junya, a possible collaborator that Shu has been watching. But when they go to interrogate Junya, they find someone had killed Junya in his apartment. Shu goes to meet Ayano in her safe house, and he lets her know that his company won the bid to track down Maria. They later talk about the death of Shu's family, and Ayano tells him that she doesn't agree with his decision to give up so many memories to find out what happened. She asks him if Shu joined her mother's company to pick up fighting skills, and then quit when he learned everything he could. But Shu tells Ayano that their former relationship was not a sham to him. Shu also tells Ayano that he still feels that his little sister Kana is alive somewhere, and that he sees his sister in his dreams. And that is the reason why he will never give up. Ayano then kisses him, and they spend the night together. Later that night, Maria arrives to attack Ayano, and Kisara interferes to save them. Kisara is upset that Shu spent the night with Ayano, so she takes more memories from Shu to fight Maria at full power. Ayano finds Shu, but finds out that Shu has lost memories of their night together. Shu then goes to help Kisara against Maria, and the two work together to destroy the D-hazard. The next day, Mikami meets with Shu and tells him that Junya was killed, but that the enemy had made a mistake and has given Mikami more information in determining the mystery behind the death of Shu's family. A nun named Sharon Holograil infiltrates Bayron City, using pictures of the demon events to guide her. Meanwhile, Ayano has been visiting Shu often to help clean up his apartment and take care of him, while at the same time Kisara has been avoiding Shu because she has memories of his night together with Ayano. Shu keeps texting Kisara, but Kisara ignores him and is uncertain on what to do. She remembers when they first met, Shu was investigating the mine when he found a petrified Kisara. There he removed her bindings to contract with her. While on a job, forces of the private security company are ambushed by Sharon, who interrogates them about the hotel incident. But when government forces drive her off, she steals their car and runs away. Shu goes to the train station to meet his informant, who has information only the higher-ups in the city can know. This is actually a trap for his information, to allow the government to capture the insider. The informant shows Shu footage of Sharon, and tells him to be wary of the church before the informant disappears. The security companies and the government investigate the attack on their forces by Sharon, and they are confused why a nun is attacking them when the church should be aligned against the demons. They determine that Sharon is from the Celestial Abbey, a European church dedicated to philanthropy and demon extermination, and their forces include some of the most powerful demon exorcists. That night, Sharon meets Akino and demands information on Kisara, the demon involved in the hotel incident, and she threatens Akino for withholding information from the church. Ayano arrives to defend her mother, but Sharon stops fighting when she finds out that Shu is connected to the incident, and she runs away after stealing Ayano's phone. Sharon uses Ayano's phone to threaten Kisara, and Ayano calls Shu to warn him that the nun has tracked him down, but the warning is too late as Sharon is already at his apartment, and she attacks and disables Shu. She gets offended when he has no memories of her. When Kisara arrives to defend Shu, it is revealed that when Shu freed Kisara 3 years ago, it was not to contract with her. Shu was actually working with Sharon at the time. Kisara confronts Sharon, but when Ayano and her forces arrive, Sharon is forced to flee. Ayano then prevents Kisara from kissing Shu and taking more memories. Shu has a nightmare that Kisara will die trying to save Kana, and he recovers in the hospital. Ayano reveals to Kisara that the reputation of her mother's company has become wrecked by their defeat by Sharon, but Kisara tells her that they had no chance because Sharon is one of the 12 most powerful demon exorcists on the planet. The government is worried that with the arrival of one outside agents, other countries and organizations will arrive in Bayron City to interfere with the delicate power balance in the city. Kisara then reveals that Shu initially teamed up with Sharon to capture her 3 years ago, but since Shu needed Kisara alive, he betrayed Sharon and the Abbey and fled with Kisara. This is the reason why Sharon has sworn revenge on Shu. Meanwhile, the government has discovered the Abbey has smuggled demon parts to Sharon through the shipyard, and that Sharon might have used them to become stronger so that she can defeat Kisara. And Sharon lures Kisara out alone into the city to ambush her with her newly powered demon suit. The suit gives Sharon the edge against Kisara, and Kisara is forced to hide from the nun. She tries to tell Sharon that she is only killing other demons, but Sharon mocks her that Kisara has grown soft, and she defeats Kisara. Kisara later wakes up with Shu kissing her, and determines that Shu has lost many of his memories to heal her. She demands to know why Shu wants her help, but he insists on giving up even more memories to push Kisara to become even more powerful. Kisara goes to fight Sharon with her new power. The nun tells Kisara that Shu is just using her, but Kisara tells her that it won't matter because Shu is losing more and more of his memories to her, and she defeats the nun. The kami gathers Miles and Shu together to further the investigation into the demon contracts in the city. They determine that Junya was acting on behalf of the true mastermind, and was helping to form demon contracts, but that the true mastermind likely had many other agents as well. Since the mastermind has acted with knowledge of the government, they suspect that they could be related to Shu's informant. Meanwhile, Ayano notices a suspicious person outside of Shu's apartment. She later arrives at the meeting where she discovers she and her mother are on the list of suspects. Shu apologizes for adding her to the list of suspects. After narrowing the list of suspects, their suspicion lies on the Director General of the city's police forces. Akino reveals that the Director General always hides his face, and that he is very dedicated to exterminating demons in the city. Shu goes to Sharon in prison for more information, and she mocks him for losing so many of his memories. She reveals that part of her mission was to track down a devil named Asmodeus, who has been hiding in human society for some time. Sharon states that Shu's opponent is a puppet of Asmodeus, and she gives him a hint to the identity of Asmodeus' agent. The kami is working late on the investigation when he gets a flash of inspiration, but he doesn't notice that he is getting followed by Shu's informant. He calls Shu, but Shu hears Mikami getting assassinated over the phone. Shu and Kisara arrive at the office to find the informant still hanging around, and after they corner him they discover the informant is Mikao, who reveals himself to be the Director General of the police. They interrogate Mikao, and he tells them his annoying personality in public was an act to hide his true identity, but that he was not responsible for Mikami's murder. Mikao promises he can prove his innocence, and takes him to his base, where he shows that he has ultimate surveillance over all inhabitants of the city. Before Mikami was killed, Mikao was headed to the office to meet with Mikami personally, and he showed them footage of Mikami's assassination to prove he was not responsible. Shu later tells Ayano about the city's mass surveillance program, and he goes to Mikami's funeral. After the funeral, he gets a ride from Miles and confronts the agent on why he killed Mikami. Shu had come to this conclusion by gathering information from Mikao's surveillance and Akino's company records. They found that Miles had been present in almost all demon incidents in the city, and that 2 of the demon victims had identified Miles' tattoo. Meanwhile, Akino and Mikao argue over the bid to defeat Miles, where Mikao had manipulated the auction because he has knowledge of Shu's family accident, and that he is afraid that Miles will say something to damage Shu. Mikao receives even worse news that Sharon has broken out of prison. Miles speaks to Shu and tells him that Mikami had suspected Miles was an agent of the mastermind, but was blind to the truth because Miles was Mikami's partner. Shu demands Miles apologize for his betrayal, but Miles just laughs and tells Shu he regrets nothing. Ayano and her focus fight the demon-transformed Miles alongside Sharon, who has temporarily allied with them. Shu reveals to Kisara that when he initially interrogated Sharon, he made a deal with her and helped her break out of prison in exchange for her help. Shu also needs Kisara to defeat Miles to get information of the mastermind from Miles' memories. Shu gives up more memories and Kisara fights Miles, but struggles against the A-class demon until Shu is able to wake up and help her kill him. Kisara takes Miles' memories and discovers that Miles, Isamu, and Akino had worked together to investigate the growing number of demons in Bayron City. Over time, all 3 families grew closer together, and they discovered that Argonium was the source of the demons in the city. Though when Miles' daughter Melissa grew sick, Miles was forced to work with a demon to heal her, and he conspired with Shu's mother Sayuri to kill Isamu and end the investigation into Argonium. Sayuri is also revealed to not only be a demon, but Asmodeus herself. Miles was able to save Shu from the accident, and adopted him into his home, although Asmodeus kept her control over him. At this point, Shu has no memory of Miles, but he finds himself crying over killing his foster parent. Kisara shares the information she got from Miles to the rest of the group, and they tell Sharon to hide temporarily as the government is aware of her identity. Kisara confirms that Isamu was not the cause of his family's death, but that it was a trap set by Asmodeus. Sharon reveals that the Celestial Abbey have been tracking down Asmodeus, who has for hundreds of years shapeshifted into different people to create demonic possessions around the world. Asmodeus had felt threatened by Isamu's investigation into Bayron City and Argonium, so she had him killed. Ayano and Kisara promise Shu that they will help him find his sister Kana. Using data from the recent demon incidents around the city, they are able to determine that Asmodeus' final ritual will likely take place somewhere in the ocean. Ayano goes to Linfa for information on the government cover-up, but while she is interrogating Linfa, the 2 are attacked by government and security forces. The government has captured Akino and the rest of their company, and demand Ayano release Linfa and place herself under arrest. Meanwhile, Sharon shares with Kisara that she believes that Asmodeus intends to use Kana's heritage of being half demon, half human to open a bridge to the demon world and allow demons to flood Earth. Although Ayano is surrounded by government forces, Shu is able to arrive with a helicopter to help rescue Ayano and Linfa, and even though Shu has memories of learning his combat skills, he can rely on muscle memory. Using the information from Linfa, Sharon and Kisara arrive at Kana's location. But when Sharon tries to kill Kana, Kisara defends her because she is the last of Shu's family. But before they can fight further, the ritual completes and Asmodeus' hand emerges from Kana. Asmodeus forces capture Kisara and Sharon. But Shu arrives to release Kisara from a copy of his mother, and Kisara is horrified to discover that Shu has no memories of his mother. Shu tries to give Kisara his last memories, but she is stabbed by Kana. Sharon and Ayano force Shu to retreat to the helicopter. Kana discovers memories of Shu slipping away, and realizes that Kana's sword allows her the ability to take memories from its victims. Kana defeats Kisara, and then confronts the helicopter but hesitates to kill Shu. The government uses its satellites to attack Kana, and they temporarily take her out of the fight. As they recover at a hospital, Ayano finds that Kisara has no life or heartbeat. Sharon reports to her that Kana is resting on the ocean floor, but likely to awaken again, and she has been labeled the first S-class demon threat, but even still the government is covering up the incident. The security forces in the city are worried about the S-class threat, and they hope that Kisara can help save them. That night at the hospital, Shu is watching over Kisara when she wakes up. She tries to persuade him to leave the city with her, and she starts to take the last of his memories. Kisara remembers that Shu had tracked her down specifically because Kisara was a distant ancestor of his, and was a legend in his family history. Hoping to use her power, he contracted with her in exchange for memories. But when they first made the contract, Kisara added a hidden clause that would allow Shu to regain all of his memories if either party cancels the contract, at the cost of Kisara's memories. At the hospital, Shu's memories return, but Kisara does not know who he is. Kana emerges from the ocean after resting, and the government issues an evacuation, but struggles to contain knowledge of demons from the public. Akino is freed by the government as the other security companies have fled the city, unwilling to face the S-class demon. Shu is amazed his memories have returned, but Kisara has forgotten everything, including her name. Shu realizes that all this time Kisara was not using his memories for power, but was keeping Shu's memories safe while using her own from before she met him. Shu hugs Kisara and promises to protect her. Meanwhile, Sharon tells Ayano they will part ways soon. Although Ayano wants to save Kana, the Celestial Abbey will be gathering their forces to kill the half-demon, half-human. Ayano believes that Shu will find an answer to their problems, and Sharon parts ways with her knowing they will likely be enemies again in the future. Ayano and the government's forces engage Kana, but none of their weapons affect her. Then angry Kana attacks the security forces, and flies directly to Ayano to obliterate her, but before she can, Shu arrives in time to save her. Shu explains to Ayano that his memories have returned, but she needs to treat Kisara kindly because she has lost hers. They realize that Kana, who has been emotionally connected with Shu, has been spying on his life through his dreams, and she is not happy. She is motivated by revenge on Ayano, Sharon, and Kisara, and is attempting to track them down to destroy them. Sharon returns to the group, determined to help them fight against Kana, and the security companies wonder if they should join the fight. Shu confronts Kana directly to see if she can be stopped, but while Kana struggles to fight him, it was a trap to lower her guard to allow the others to disable her so that Shu can seal her away again. Kana and Shu fight in the skies above the city, and the two are evenly matched, but Kana is able to stop Shu for a moment by crying, allowing her to defeat him. An injured Shu is saved by Sharon and Ayano, but the two girls struggle to hold Kana back, and before Kana can kill Ayano, Kisara intervenes to save her. Kisara doesn't know exactly why she joined to help them, but she agrees to help. Shu explains that Kana is her little sister, and they need to seal her away with Kisara's sword. Working together, they fight against Kana, but Kana summons demonic reinforcements who rush to the city proper to destroy Bayron city. But before the demons can reach the city, the security forces join the fight and intercept them. After a power-up from Shu, Kisara confronts Kana again in the skies, and Kisara lures Kana to an ambush point, allowing Shu to destroy part of Kana's weapon. Asmodeus emerges from Kana but is quickly killed by Kisara, and after Kisara seals Kana, she tells Shu to take care of his sister, and Kisara flies away. Ayano and Sharon ask Kisara how she is feeling, but Kisara is uncertain on what to do as a demon in human society. Ayano hugs her and tells her that the world will have a place for her. Meanwhile, Shu finally reunites with Kana. The government conducts the cover-up of the incident and cleans up the city. However, due to Kana's dangerous powers, they keep her imprisoned in the city. Sharon tells Ayano that she will be leaving the city and that she will likely be punished by the Abbey for allying with demons. She warns Ayano that another Abbey agent will likely arrive soon and Ayano must be prepared. Shu leaves flowers for his father and Miles, promising that he will try to help Kana. Kisara meets him, asking him to tell her about their memories together, and they leave for his apartment. But at his place, they see Kana has broken out of prison to have a feast at Shu's expense. Kisara and Kana start to argue over Shu, and Ayano arrives with the police to arrest Kana for breaking out of prison. But when Shu tries to intervene, they all turn on him. And this is all for this video. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.